Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, and it's happened. It's upon us, guys. It has been revealed and announced. Year 6 Season 4 is here, Shattering Fates. And let me be very clear, guys, after watching the full reveal and going through the whole thing, it was really cool. There's a lot good to talk about and some bad things to talk about, and we'll get to all of it. I want to thank everyone who came to the stream to watch it along with me. It was amazing. And for those of you who didn't get to see the stream and are here because you want to hear about what was talked about and want to hear my thoughts on it, well, thank you guys for coming. So all of you who are familiar with my channel, you know why I do this. I do it because I want to help give you guys a better understanding of how I feel about each season and about the game in general. And for those of you who are brand new, thank you for coming. Let me go ahead and get the show out of the way and then we can get started, all right? So if you guys want to help support me and support the channel and allow me to continue making these videos, there are lots of ways you can help support me. I will be leaving links in the description to all of this. You can become a patron over at Patreon and donate. Even $1 a month would really help me out in a big way. If you want to go to my Teespring store, I have a Teespring store with some merchandise, including some limited time Christmas merchandise that you can purchase for this month alone. Any donation there would be very much appreciated. You can also just subscribe to the channel and tell your friends and family to subscribe. Subscriptions always help boost the algorithm and get me noticed. If you want to ever donate in Super Chat or just watch the ads all the way through in a video, I would appreciate that too. Anything y'all can do to help me continue doing this and making these videos would be very much appreciated. You're under no obligation, but it means a lot to me and it would help me continue doing this. Thank you guys so much, and let's get on to the rest of the video. Alright, so first of all, Shattering Fate seems to be very much Arabic themed. You've got kind of an Arabian Nights kind of vibe to it. Very pretty starry skies. In fact, it seems to be perpetually twilight in this season, because you got the glowing blues and purples and oranges like the sun is just setting. You got lots of stars in the sky, and it's a very cool aesthetic. It's a very neat aesthetic. I really like it. It reminds me a little bit of the Pirate season last year, where it was kind of these constellations and stars, but unlike with the Pirate season where it was very cold feeling, like it kind of had this wintry vibe, this has more of a desert vibe, like an empty, cool night air, and I get the sensation of almost a warmth from that as well. Not just cool, but warmth at the same time. It's a very nice feeling, like, and the music is gorgeous. There's a lot to really like about the aesthetic of this season. It looks and feels strong, and it's clear that they put a lot of effort and time into making it feel that way. So excellent job on this Arabic themed season. I really like it. The aesthetic is cool, the feeling is cool, the music is cool. I love all of it. So definitely A+ material on that. Now the hero skin is out as well. It's going to be coming out next year. It is not Tiandi. I thought it would be because they've been going through all the Vanguards. They did Warden, they did Raider, they did Kensei. So I thought Tiandi was the obvious next one, but it's not. It's actually Black Prior. But before you get too disappointed, let me say that the hero skin for Black Prior, called Commander Ravier, is awesome. It is one of the best hero skins out there besides Mako's. It's a reference to a historical figure named King Baldwin IV. And if you remember my Black Prior Heroes in History video, you already know that I love King Baldwin IV, and I thought that Black Prior was always kind of a reference to King Baldwin. I always thought that that was a pretty clear reference, and now they're making it very obvious. In fact, they said at the end of the stream that it was a nod to King Baldwin IV. Now, who is King Baldwin? He was a king of Jerusalem near the end, right near the beginning of the Third Crusade and after the Second Crusade. He was a very strong leader, a very strong king, but he had leprosy for most of his life. So it was amazing that he could do all the things he did while having leprosy. Some thought, oh man, he's being cursed by God, that's why he has leprosy. But others thought it was a testament to his ability and his martial skills that he could continue to lead Jerusalem successfully for so many years. In fact, he was so good at what he did that he actually defeated the Sultan Saladin on at least 2 occasions, and the two actually had to come to a truce scenario because Saladin got tired of fighting this guy all the time. And it's not that King Baldwin was just so much more experienced. He was actually relatively young at this point in time, but he still put up a great effort against Saladin, which even Saladin respected. So a very respectful Christian, strong Jerusalem king. Very cool stuff, and I'm glad to see that reference in Commander Ravier. Also, Ravier has this crown of thorns thing going on, which is a reference to Jesus Christ, who was given the crown of thorns to wear. And the smoldering effects on the robes looks awesome. It is very cool. All of this looks so great. I love the way it's designed. I love the way she's designed. It looks phenomenal. A great addition. But this is where we get into the narrative of the season, and the narrative is kind of bad. I'll explain why, Hear me out. So, first of all, the narrative goes like this. Here's how the season is setting up. See if this doesn't sound a little bit familiar. You have this island nation, separate from Heathmore, that was separated around the time of the Cataclysm. This is the Arabian area, kind of like your Baghdad kind of location. Because it's been separate from Heathmore, it hasn't had any wars. It hasn't had to deal with the faction wars, hasn't had to deal with any external combat or fighting. It's lived a very peaceful life. And because it's been so peaceful, they compare it to the Islamic Golden Age. This kingdom has had boosts in mathematics, astrology, medicine, economics, all these great discoveries, all founded and discovered through this time period of peace. This is not quite accurate to the Islamic Golden Age. I mean, there was an Islamic Golden Age, but what happened was the Muslim forces pushed their way through the Middle Eastern territories, through Northern Africa, and up into Spain, in fact, and as they marched and took territory and land and assimilated cultures into their own, they also borrowed and assimilated those cultural understandings, their mathematics, their sciences, their medicines. They weren't stealing it necessarily, they were assimilating into their own. So it wasn't because of peace that the Islamic Golden Age came to be. It was through conquest and growing their empire and expanding. They were a warrior group. It was a warrior way of life, but through that they were able to build and expand and grow and turn it into a golden age. So saying, oh, they were just sitting on this little island, no wars at all, it was perfectly peaceful, and that's what created the golden age, not quite. That's not quite how the Islamic Golden Age happened. But that's a minor nitpick. See, the problem that I have here is isolationism creates another problem. They're obviously going to have a warrior or a warrior group come from this island. That's going to be where the new hero comes from later on. But if you're an isolationist country that has never had to deal with war before, you've never had to go into fighting, why on earth would you have warriors in the first place? That's a question I want them to answer, and I hope they answer it. But here's the part that kind of gets me. It's just a recycling of Season 2. Think about it. In Season 2, what was it? Bolthorn from Heathmore travels outside of Heathmore and discovers a new land in the desert. He discovers that this land has an artifact that he wants to use, and then he takes it and comes back and tries to use it, and that brings a new hero from that land to come and kick his ass, and then they end up staying in Heathmore. What's happening here? Well, Commander Ravier, who's from Horkos, has heard about this new thing called the Orb of Fate or whatever, and she's gone to this island to try to get her hands on it because the Orb of Fate allows you to peer into the future. And so the Sultan, who I think they said was a girl, which is a little weird. I don't think there were any female sultans. I don't think that would happen. But regardless of that, the Sultan, who doesn't see any problem with this, lets them see the orb. Ravier sees the future in the orb and then destroys the orb so that no one else can ever use it against Horkos, and then kills the Sultan and yeets out of that country to get back to Heathmore and share what she found with Horkos. And that's part 1 of Season 4. I can guarantee what's going to happen next. Now, in the second part of Season 4, a hero or princess or some kind of warrior is going to rise up from this kingdom that was just accosted and attacked and harassed, and is going to go back to Heathmore and kick the crap out of Commander Ravier because how dare you, evil person, come and take our stuff or destroy our stuff. It's exactly like Season 2. It is a recycling of Season 2's plotline, and honestly, that's pretty weak. That is a very weak way to do it. I understand sometimes plots get recycled, but to do it within the same year? Really? Come on. This coming off of Micah, which was an actually really well-written one, you now give us this? Yeah, that's pretty bad. And on a more personal note, not sure if y'all noticed this, but I sure did. You have the female Black Prior cosplaying as Baldwin IV, a prominent Christian Crusader king, wearing obvious Christian symbolism of the crown of thorns, being the obvious bad guy and invading the peaceful, naive, friendly, advanced city of not Baghdad, which is supposed to be representative of or symbolic of the Islamic Golden Age, and breaks their crap, kills their leader, and pulls out. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all put 2 and 2 together on that one and make the obvious bias that's being portrayed here. I'm gonna call that pretty sus. And you know, the worst part about it, if you had just done this a little differently, if you just changed the way this was done, it would actually be kind of unique. What if instead you had it where the Sultan looked into the orb and saw a vision of a dangerous knight or enemy of some kind in Heathmore, and so to prevent this enemy from rising up, that's when they invade and you introduce the new hero first and then have them fight, and then the fighting from this produces the Black Prior who is cosplaying King Baldwin, because that would actually be more historically accurate, since King Baldwin came about after the end of the Second Crusade and just before the beginning of the Third Crusade. So that would actually not only be more historically sound, but it would actually reverse what happened in Season 2, so you get a more unique storyline in that sense. That, I think, would have been a lot more creative and a much better direction to take it, but no, that wouldn't be able to present your clear bias, would it? I'll stop talking about it now, but just know that was not lost on me. Anyway, let's keep going. The Battle Pass looks decent. Some of the weapons there look kind of cool. I like some of the designs that they've come up with. Lots of lions, lots of birds, lots of constellations. It looks really cool. Lots of combinations of purple and blue. Again, well, I feel like Tzeentch is somehow involved in all this. You know, it's a sphere of, it's the shattering of fate. You know, and Tzeentch is all about fate. The orb allowed you to view the future. What was Tzeentch's whole thing? Viewing the past and the future, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm wondering if Tzeentch isn't somehow involved in this, but still, the Battle Pass looks cool. The stuff involved looks pretty neat, so it's a decent Battle Pass. There's also going to be the return of the Frostwind Nights event, which is going to last from December 15th to January 5th. And if you don't remember what that is or don't know what that is, it's basically this brawl game mode where you're fighting on ice that is floating on the water. And the longer you stand on these sheets of ice, the more they break up until eventually they crack and fall away. And if you're still standing on it, you'll fall into the water and die. So it's not just a battle of brawl where you're trying to kill your opponent. You're also having to be very careful where you stand. It's always been a very fun and enjoyable game mode for the community every winter. So I'm glad they're bringing it back. But the weapons that are coming out with this Frostwinds event game mode are less than stellar. They're okay, but they're nothing compared to what the Battle Pass is bringing. But on to the stuff y'all really want to hear about. What's new coming to the game in terms of heroes and balance? Well, first of all, Valkyrie and Tiandi's testing ground reworks that they had last season, they're going to go live. They are going live this season. Tiandi will have some slight changes, but nothing major. Both are going to be going live probably as they were in the testing grounds. Also, just so y'all know, because I know someone's going to ask, the new hero is not coming out until February 2nd. Okay? Got that out of the way? Okay. Because I know everyone asks. Everyone asks that in the comment section. When's the new hero coming out? It's February 2nd. Halfway through the season. They're coming. Don't worry. Alright, back to what I was saying. Alright, so there are going to be some minor hero fixes. Some very small hero fixes. Lawbringer is going to have a faster shove. Pirate is going to get a slight nerf to their damage output. Raider is going to get lots of nerfs to his damage output and some nerfs to his stamina. Peacekeeper is going to get a tad faster, but the one that I'm very happy about is Nusha is being given an unblockable and has enhanced dodge lights, as well as better anti-ganking capability with refined animation rework. So thank you. Nusha's finally getting some love. Thank goodness. One of my For Honor wish lists actually came true. I'm so happy for that. Then there are going to be some minor quality of life fixes to characters like Warlord, who I think is going to be getting uninterruptible a little bit faster. Shinobi isn't going to be able to pin you as long with his kick. Kyoshin is getting a stamina buff to his Kaze stance. Sanhu is going to have a nerf to his unblockable heavy finisher. And Centurion is going to be able to punch you whether he hits you with his heavy or not. And then there's Gladiator. Gladiator's also getting a slight change. They're bringing back his ability to unbalance you with his toe stab if you're out of stamina. So that's coming back. So some minor changes here and there. Some of it I feel is warranted. Some of it, could have been without. But regardless of that, that's all what's coming. But the big one, the one everyone wants to know about, Jormungandr Testing Ground rework. How is it? Jormungandr in the Testing Ground is no longer a stamina bully. None of their moves will drain an enemy's stamina necessarily. They've got brand new moves, including new mocap. Their whole gameplay now is maneuverability. They can unbalance an enemy now regardless of stamina, because after a typical heavy attack, they can do a bash to the enemy's knee, which knocks them off balance whether they are out of stamina or not, and then can follow up with a hammer slam. But other than that, they can maneuver enemies around with heavies and zones. The lights and heavies have been re-mocapped so they look a little bit cooler and have a much wider range to them so they can actually get some external damage done as well. Their dash forward guard break is now a bash that grants a light but does not drain stamina. And their crotch kick from the guard break does not drain stamina but causes damage and grants a free light. What I really like about Yorm now is she feels like a new character, but still very unique. There's a lot to Yorm now to really appreciate. In the past, people complained, Yorm's just a stamina bully. And then with the new way that they're dealing with stamina, Yorm just can't work. But as they revealed, they made a lot of these changes to pave the way for Yorm's rework. Because back in the day, when stamina was such a big deal and you could keep knocking people down and repeatedly take advantage of that, Yorm just had so much working for her that it was very hard to really counter her. But now with the changes to stamina, Yorm has become weaker and weaker and weaker. So now this feels like a brand new character, a brand new way of playing the game, a brand new way of using this unique individual. I can't wait to try her out in the testing ground. Now keep in mind, these changes to Yorm are not live. They will come out in the testing ground this season, and we'll see how they work. So I'm very excited to see what that brings. I'm really excited to play Jormungandr. These were changes that I know needed to be made. And guys, I want to make this clear too. In my last video, I mentioned how Nucia really needed to rework more than Yorm, because I felt like Nucia just, even with the state of the game being what it is, Yorm still had more going for them than Nucia. And I stand by that. But seeing these changes coming to Jormungandr right now, I realize how useful these are going to be, how much this is going to change Jormungandr as a character, and I am so happy to see them. This is something Jormungandr really needed, and I'm kind of glad to see that this testing ground is solely dedicated to Yorm's rework. I like Yorm. I'm glad Yorm's getting some help. This is a good change. And that's pretty much all there is right now to say about the new season. So, final thoughts. The changes coming feel phenomenal. The aesthetic for the season just feels on point. The hero skin and the Yorm updates are all phenomenal. The battle pass looks like it's going to be pretty cool. I'm glad that we're getting some quality of life updates for several characters. I'm glad to see Nucia finally getting some love. I'm so glad for that. Everything about this season looks and feels great. The main problem I have is in the narrative direction. It feels biased, it feels repetitive, and it feels a bit forced. That's my biggest problem so far. Everything else, though, looks great. Everything else, though, looks really good. Maybe eventually I'll do a separate video where I talk about the Islamic Golden Age and compare it to what they're doing here. Maybe I'll talk about King Baldwin in a video and talk about the connections there. Maybe I'll address all that stuff in another video. I know that's not what you're here to see, and I apologize for going off on that ramble. But my point being, thinking back on the other seasons we've had so far, Ramiel's story was okay. It was pretty good. Bullthorns was, it was okay, I guess. Kind of iffy, a little cliche, but okay. Maiko's was excellent. Maiko's was the best so far. And this one just feels like not only redoing Season 2, like doing it over again, but also very forced. Especially when everyone was kind of excited to see a Tiandi new skin. Like a new skin for Tiandi, tying in the Wulin. People are pointing out, man, y'all just really don't like the Wulin at Ubisoft, do you? Because you have skipped over them so frequently. And I agree, it is a little bit sad, especially since Tiandi just got his new testing ground rework going live. I thought this would be the perfect time for him to get his, you know, new hero skin. But regardless, the hero skin for Ravier looks good. And Jormungandr's rework is coming out too, which is great. And I can't say that the season looks or sounds bad at all. It's just I feel like the story could have been done better, but most people don't care about the lore anyway. I'm one of the few who does. So take that with a grain of salt. Take everything here as you like it, guys. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below if you're excited for this season, what things you're excited about. Let me know if you agree with me about the story. Do you think it's kind of lackluster? Do you think it could have been done better? Let me know down below. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, giving me some love, checking out all the stuff in the description that will help support the channel. Any donation is always appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.